The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Luke. Herod the Tetrarch heard about all that Jesus was doing, and he was greatly perplexed, because some were saying, "John has been raised from the dead." Others were saying, "Elijah has appeared." And still others, "One of the ancient prophets has arisen." But Herod said, "John I beheaded. Who then is this about whom I hear such things?" And he kept trying to see him. My dear friends, the Gospel of the Lord. When you leave this world, after your mission on earth has been completed, how would you like to be remembered? Maybe it's good to ask this question. When we finish our mission here on earth, how would we like people to remember us? Today, the Gospel reading calls us back to the person who is very much remembered by the church in the person of John the Baptist. Even Herod the Tetrarch, who heard about Jesus, who was doing all the good works during his lifetime, was perplexed because looking at Jesus, seeing at Jesus, they remembered another person, and that person is no other than John the Baptist. That's why when people told Herod about Jesus and they said Elijah has appeared, John is raised back to life, Herod said, "I already beheaded John. Who then is this about whom I hear such things?" And amidst all his wonders, he did not but look for the time to see him. He was longing to see all the more Jesus, whom they believed as the new John during his time. But my dear friends, the lesson that we can get in this gospel today is that as long as there are people who are willing to stand for the truth and for the good, there is always hope for our society. Let us remember that John the Baptist was able to steer the heart of Herod because he hindered him from taking the wife of his brother, Herodias. It was he who stood for the truth because he did not allow Herod to take the wife of his brother at the time. But even in that, John, without fear, gave his life in order to say, "This is not good, this is not right for you to do this thing." That is why even today, my dear friends, John the Baptist is remembered because he is an icon of bravery. He is an icon of courage. He is an icon for those people who stand for the truth no matter what. Can we still see hope in our midst today? Are there still people who say and stand for the truth? Can we be the modern John the Baptist of today who can say, "Let us always follow the will of God. Let us always be mindful in following the Christian way"? Or are we the modern coward people who, like Herod, would want to live in the way even if it's not in accordance with our faith? Let us choose what kind of life do we follow? Do we want to be John the Baptist, or do we want to be like Herod in our time, coward to stand for the truth? And secondly, my dear brothers and sisters, aside from believing that as long as there are people who stand for the truth, there is always hope in society. Sometimes, in the midst of the challenge to live what is right, what is good, and what is true, we either become Herod, who behead people, who cut the head of people who stand for the truth and the good, or we ourselves become like John the Baptist, who are willing to be beheaded no matter what. When we report to work, for example, punctually, and people would tell us, you are very serious, please change yourself because you might be promoted. When we say, yes, I will not report to work anymore punctually because I will be promoted, then we are tempted. If, when we are asked to sign, for example, a document, and somebody tells us, please sign this, even if it is not true, because anyway, I will give you something, a share for you. When we give in to the temptation, then we become like Herod, instead of becoming like John the Baptist. But when we say, no, I am sufficient, I can stand for this one, even if you won't even give me a little of it, because I don't want that corruption may go on, then we are like John the Baptist, who are beheaded already because we stand for the truth and for the good and the right. Yes, my dear brothers and sisters, it is always a challenge for us to choose between living like Herod, who only wants to please people, and living like John, who always wants to please God. The choice is on us. As long as we do not stand for the truth because we fear, as long as we become coward ourselves, we live like Herod. But if, no matter what people say, as long as we don't lose the way, the goal, the purpose of following as Christians, even if in front of them we're already dead, because of the seriousness, because of the pious life that we live, then continue, because John the Baptist's spirit lives in you. As long as there are people who stand for the truth, there is always hope in our society. As long as people behead us because they found us too much in living the principles of Christian life, go on, because John the Baptist will inspire you, and Jesus' Spirit who is in us will be with us to strengthen us no matter what. May God bless us.